Picture yourself at your local mall, watching a young child lay on the floor screaming and flailing their arms. Most people would think that this tantrum is at the fault of the parents. Many of us are too quick to judge because we do not really know what is going on. Stubborn, antisocial, OCD, bipolar, insane. These are all words that are typically used to describe children and even adults with autism and Asperger's. Conditions such as autism and Asperger's represent the greatest prejudice society needs to overcome, and this is not possible with the way that things are currently running. Extra education costs, parents facing contempt, and bullying are just some of the examples of how individuals with intellectual disabilities are not yet treated fairly in society. Society must show compassion to those with intellectual disabilities and educate America's youth in order to fully remove the stigma surrounding these disorders, change perspectives, and create equality. In society, autism is recognized as a disability. Strictly speaking, it may be, but people with autism do not like to think of it as a disorder, rather a quirk that has a beautiful culture surrounding it. On the surface, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime is a murder mystery. Christopher, a 15-year-old boy with autism, discovers his neighbor's dog dead in front of his house. The novel is narrated by Christopher, who goes on a hunt to find the dog's killer, and along the way finds his mother, who has been presumed dead for his entire life. Christopher displays many signs of autism. He has a loss of emotional connections with others, he does not like to be touched, he finds other people confusing, he has meltdowns, and he is extremely intelligent. One of the first signs that Christopher has autism is when he is at school and his teacher shows him pictures to represent emotions. A frown means sad, a smile means happy. He is unable to recognize other faces like anger or frustration. This creates a barrier for him, and he struggles to build relationships with others because of the barrier. He also finds other people confusing and does not understand how the raising of an eyebrow can mean many different things, or that people use metaphors to explain things that are really not true. Autism is a wide continuum that goes from severe, where the child remains extremely nonverbal, to brilliant scientists and engineers. There is a correlation between autistic minds and genius minds, and the author displays his knowledge of this by communicating various signs of Christopher's intelligence. He is able to recite prime numbers, miraculously understand space, and read challenging novels. A stigma means disgrace and dishonor. The stigma is the A on Hester Prynne in the Scarlet Letter. The stigma was the yellow star placed on the clothes of the Jews in Nazi Germany. Why should autism be similarly stigmatized? In 1912, autism was first used medically to describe withdrawals in schizophrenic adults. Later, an autism spectrum was created, and children would be diagnosed arbitrarily. Over the years, there has been increased scientific understanding, but the treatment of individuals from society remains the same. Media representation is also unknowingly contributing to the unfairness that individuals with autism face. The automatic assumption that many people have autism creates a negative connotation for the disorder. Because of movies and TV shows, the world may view autism as a disorder that holds people back and creates only bad components of a person's life. The TV show The Big Bang Theory pictures a funny brainiac named Sheldon who is repeatedly referred to as autistic. As a result of this show, many people come to the false understanding of what autism really is. False media information regarding autism also creates a major problem for the community. An example of this false media information is the vaccine controversy associated with autism. Recent claims have been made that some vaccines, such as the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, causes autism. By saying that someone may contract a disorder from this vaccine, it only generates sorrow around the community. Currently, there is no accepted scientific evidence that any vaccine in the United States causes autism, but people still live in fear that their child will become disabled. The shame and isolation experienced by families with an autistic child is similar to that experienced by others whose differences set them apart. There is a combination of a pervasive disability and an apparent physical normality that creates a unique stigma for families with an autistic child. Many parents are disappointed when finding out that their child has an intellectual disability. There is a line between unconditional love and unconditional acceptance, and it takes a long time for parents to accept their autistic child. Parents contribute to the stigma by not accepting their child. By only giving a child love and not acceptance, parents do not allow a child to contribute to society with their brilliant minds and warm hearts. According to the 2000 United States Census, 89% of gay people are born to straight parents, more than 90% of deaf people are born to hearing parents, and 79% of autistic people are born to neurotypical parents. Most parents do not attempt to immerse themselves in the culture of their child or their identity. There is a beautiful thing about people sharing a trait and working together to combat it. Parents of autistic children are faced with extreme amounts of stress. To reduce this stress, many parents have to follow the path to acceptance and focus on the ultimate outcome of their child's happiness and not obedience. Marilyn Cox, the parent of a teenage autistic child, advises to other parents that their job as a parent becomes significantly easier when they celebrate the little victories and start to embrace themselves in the culture of autism, including going to support groups and talking to other parents and children. From birth, autistic children face discrimination and prejudice. At school, especially when young, individuals with autism face intense bullying and teasing. Children with autism may have trouble recognizing social cues, which makes them awkward around others. Children typically do not understand that others think differently or act differently from them, and when someone around them acts differently, it makes autistic children a ripe target for bullying. Under the law, individuals with intellectual disabilities are not treated equally. Many insurance companies refuse to cover medications such as anti-anxiety, antidepressants, and antipsychotics. Although there is legislation such as the Americans with Disabilities Act, many adults with autism may face discrimination. While searching for a job, there are not many options for someone with autism who is not on the brilliant side of the spectrum. A lack of eye contact and social awkwardness may disqualify them for the job, even under non-discriminatory laws. The point of view that awareness will eventually reach fairness is a popular tactic currently being used. Autism Speaks is a widely known organization that seeks the awareness of people with autism. According to their site, they have increased autism awareness by 50%. Through awareness, people start to learn about autism and what it really means to be autistic. Awareness can always lead to action because once people learn about something, they will take steps to fix the problem. With respect to autism awareness, there are some troubling facts that refute the argument that awareness campaigns are successful. According to the Odyssey Online, 76% of parents with autistic children dislike the month of April in organizations such as Autism Speaks. Parents continue to lament that they are overwhelmed by awareness and they live this every day and do not need any more. The Autism Speaks campaign implies that autism is a party rather than a crisis. Social media activism and awareness does not help any more than saying you support gay marriage helps to stop hate crimes. Awareness is an archaic reason to create organizations like Autism Speaks, who splat the color blue on everything during the month of April to represent their chosen color of awareness. Today, more people are aware of autism than are not. Many initiatives like Autism Speaks that have a goal of people understanding autism are not driven to actually help those affected. Autistic people only want people to know that they are not broken, defective, or diseased. These individuals only want to be accepted by society. Awareness is not enough, and people with autism deserve a bright, not just a blue, future. The only true solution to removing the stigma surrounding autism is through integrating autistic children into primary schools and creating programs that display the positive sides of autism, which will eventually lead to equality due to a better understanding. Author Mark Haddon of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime does not want his novel to be used as a textbook for social workers or scientists. He reiterates that his book is not a campaign for the awareness of autism, but a peek inside the mind of someone with autism. People are so afraid of variety that they try to fit everything into a tiny little box with a label on it. But the world needs all kinds of minds. Instead of preaching awareness, we should preach neurodiversity. If every single person on Earth thought the same, no one would have ever created domestication. No one would have ever created cars, radios, or phones. Brilliance drives our world and makes it better. Diversity drives our world. Some people with developmental disabilities contain the shape of trees and the movement of stars and rivers within them. Autism is not a set of boundaries, but a push to maximize the world's potential.